2. 1, 2, 3.
Are you ready, America? It's time for another edition of Game On. With your host, Stevie Ray Braun, and Brad Bad News Bollinger. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Game On. Talking about your favorite sports and different parts of life. Might even get a little take on Lane Kiffin's wife. They tell you what they think and not afraid to take a stance. They'll give you the number of pleats in Charlie Weiss's pants. They're the game on guys, see sports through their eyes. Political correctness just up and dies when they give you their views on any sport you want to hear. They're the game on guys, eating fries, drinking beer.
My doctor would probably say I don't need to drink any more beer or eat that many more fries. I'm Steve Braun. That guy on the other end of the line is Brad Bollinger.
Since when do we listen to doctors? Am I right?
Only doctor I listen to is Dr. Pepper.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that.
I really didn't. I couldn't think of another doctor.
I was pleasantly surprised.
I really didn't have anything there.
It was so silly that it worked. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, yeah, we skipped last week. I don't even remember why. I think I had something.
I think it was contract negotiations.
You were working late. I think you threatened to enter the transfer portal. You were looking at another podcast or something. I don't know. It didn't work out. But here we are.
We came back.
We're making it work. So I told you this before we started recording. I told you I'd tell a story.
Yes.
So my 2-year-old, Caroline.
And I haven't heard this story, so this is going to be a live reaction here.
Caroline had her Christmas concert tonight at her daycare and all that. So we go. It was at 6:30. We have another event, Christmas party that we're supposed to be at for work that starts at the same time, but we had told them, hey, we're going to be late, all that jazz. So, Christmas concerts or anything with your kid's school in which your kid is performing, it's like going to graduation for somebody. You're only really there for that person, and you could care less about anything else. So I'll just start off with that. So it's a Christian daycare and all that, so they've got kids like reading the Bible verses, like reading the Christmas story out of the Bible and like Christ's birth and all that. But they're kids, so they're like mumbling and they're like that kind of deal. Just as fast as they can read it. So you can't understand any of it. And I'm like, oh. So then they finally get to where Caroline and her classmates and all that come out. And I'm thinking, hey, they've been working with her. She's 2. She can sing. Like, she's singing songs all the time around the house. So I'm like, maybe they've been working on, like, singing a song or two. No, they just, like, go all out dancing to the music. And the first song is, like, Run Around for Christ. I don't even know. Brad, she's sprinting throughout this room. It was like a converted gym. They like bought an old elementary school cafeteria gym area. She's running around, jumping. I mean, just like parents that were near the door were like stepping in front of her, afraid she was gonna like just hit the door and like go through it. I mean, just all over the place. So she does her 2 songs. She like runs back to us. We're like, great job, all that. The next group, the group age older, so she's like the younger 2s or whatever, they're like 3 and up. They go out there, 3 to 5-year-olds go out there to sing their songs. She's ticked. She's like, no, I want to be up there still. I want to be performing. So I've got basically, I'm enrolling her in acting classes, and we're really banking on some commercials and some acting gigs to open up here.
Oh,
so,
wow.
so Daddy doesn't have to work anymore.
She wants the spotlight.
Apparently.
Well, that's good.
So then she's like out in the aisle dancing around, all that jazz. And we've got this other thing we've got to go to, and we're like, okay, can we skip out? I don't know if we can. And Sarah talks to one of the teachers, and the teacher's like, oh yeah, you guys can leave whenever. And Sarah's like, can we go out this door, side door, that would take us like into where the school is, to the entrance exit that we're used to going in and out of to drop her off each day. And they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. So we walk down this hallway. It's an old elementary school. Walk down the long hallway. Get outside. Walk past a janitor. Get outside. Turn. They have a gate. The gate's locked. Chain, lock, key, all of that. So we turn around and the door's locked. So Sarah's knocking on the door. I'm like, we're going to have to jump over this thing. Like, that's our options here. I'm going to have to jump over this fence. Mind you, I'm dressed, ready to, like, I'm throwing on a sports coat, and we're going to this next party. That's how I'm dressed. Dress, shoes, slacks, all that. So she's banging on the door. She's like, well, let me try to. So about that time, I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, we're going to either be waiting for everybody to, like, be coming out of this deal, whenever that is, or I jump over this, walk back through the room we had just sat in. And mind you, the door is up near the front. Walk through there, go let them in, then walk back out. So finally, I go to hop over the fence. I, like, get my footing. I'm in dress shoes, so I can't, like, put my foot in the... It's rained. It's been raining all day. I can't, like, put my foot in part of the fence, chain link fence, and then, like, boost my... No, I've got to, like, get on the joint. Or it was ridiculous. I finally, like, get up. My pants catch on the top of the fence. Rip a hole in my pocket, thankfully. So then mind you, it's been raining all day. So I go to, like, it gets hooked. I realize it, so I kind of, like, get unhooked. Go over the fence and land. And when I land, of course it's wet, it's muddy. Foot slips. Thankfully, being the athlete that I am, and you've witnessed me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sneaky athletic. Like, you look at me.
Poetry in motion.
You look at me and you're like, no way. And then I'll go up and grab a rebound and you're like, I don't even know how he did that. Doesn't make sense. I show a little burst. You're like, oh, okay. Did not. Sneaky. It's just sneaky. Sneaky athletic. Sneaky athleticism showed up again, Brad. That's all I'm saying. I caught myself. Little bit of mud on the shoe, but outside of that, did not get dirty, but did have the hole in the pants. Had to walk back through, then let them in, which I guess at that point the janitor came over and was like, I can't let you in. I'm like, lady, I'm thinking, we literally walked past this woman. So I get through and let them in, and then by the time we get back to the room we had been in, they are wrapping up. And now it's like this awkward, like, you really can't leave now because it's so close to being over. Everybody knows it is, and now you look like the ones that you really couldn't wait 2 more minutes, like 2 or 3 more minutes. So then by that point we wait, and then we leave. So, yeah, fun, interesting evening there at the 2-year-old preschool daycare Christmas party.
Well, I've got
Concert.
a few follow-up questions.
Yes,
here.
please. I'll open it up to questions now.
Okay, yeah. Steve?
Yes,
Brad
Brad,
Bollinger
yeah.
came on podcast here.
Yes. Good to see you, Brad.
Good to see you too, Steve. Now, in this room you were watching this performance in, how many people were in this room total? Would it be super noticeable if you're leaving in and out, or is it a bunch of people? What's the situation there?
I would say probably 50-ish at the most. Conservative
Okay.
estimate 50 at the
Okay.
most. Yeah.
Okay. Follow-up question.
Yes. Go
Did
ahead.
you not have anyone's number who was inside of the said building that you
No,
could have texted to
no.
be like, hey, can you open this door?
So my wife is Facebook friends. Sarah's Facebook friends with two of the teachers, or at least one of the teachers, and did send a Facebook message. But you know how how many people have Facebook Messenger or are looking at it? Like she had her own kid there. She's watching the like I don't even know if she had her that teacher had her phone in hand or nearby.
Okay. Okay.
So we did
And
we
then,
did effort. There was that sent. We did wait a minute to see, but I'm like, it's been there's like chances tornadoes. There's been tornadoes around here. It's been raining off and on. I'm like, I really don't want to stand out here. I definitely don't want to be jumping over the fence or having to yell at somebody as they're leaving while it's pouring down rain for them to come back in, let us in. So my thought was, it's not raining right now. Let's just get it over and take care of it.
yeah, fight or flight. I get it. And finally, how would you describe the dance that your daughter performed? And is she inheriting your dancing skills?
They're not up to my level yet.
Well, no.
There's work to be done there. Um,
That's
it
like
was
Charlie Woods competing with Tiger Woods.
yeah. Like a 5-year-old Charlie. Like that's where we're at right now. Yeah. I'm trying to think of how you could describe it. If you poured a 5-pound bag of sugar into Dallas Bryant, the monkey,
Mm-hmm.
and then set him loose, that's how it would basically be.
Okay.
I mean, just running, jumping, twisting of hips, full body, one leg planted. Just, I mean, she knows her pivot foot. Let's just put it that way. If I put a basketball in her hand, and if she had any hopes of being a post player, which she doesn't because her parents are short, we'd have something there. I mean, the girl, she can pivot and twist and
She
really
can pivot.
like she'd be dangerous in the post. But instead, she's probably going to be like 5'2", and golf and bowling are going to have to be in her future.
Well, it sounds pretty chaotic, but I I hope you are. Have you showed her your dancing skills yet? Has that happened yet?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Is that a down the road thing?
Yeah, I mean, she's seen some of them. I mean,
You can't break out
there's
the.
there's a little bit of two-step, and we have not broken out the wobble with her.
Okay. Sure.
Boot scooting boogie. There is video of me boot scooting boogieing with her. I'm holding her and doing the boot scooting boogie. Which
Athlete.
yeah, I mean, there's not many that can have a 2-year-old in tow and do the boot scooting boogie at the same time while singing the song and keeping said 2-year-old entertained throughout that dance. I mean, you go to any country bar and you watch the boot scooting boogie, and a lot of people, I mean, they're falling out, Brad.
Yeah.
Takes stamina to be able to maintain a high level of boot scooting boogie, and I am able to do it, and I was able to do it with a 2-year-old in tow while keeping her entertained and not wanting to move off the dance floor. I mean, that's just the reality.
Well, we're gonna have to. We'll save the wobble for a special occasion then, because that's a real bonding moment. I feel like for a father-daughter to inherit the wobble genes. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a special moment for sure. So places you can follow us as we transition. You can follow us on Twitter, Game On Guys, Facebook, Game On Pod. We are also on TikTok at Game On Pod as well. Website is gameonpod.com, and you can always email us at emailgameon@gmail.com. All right, let's hop into it. A lot going on in the sports world. First, do want to mention the passing of Mike Leach, 61 years old, to a heart attack that he suffered on Sunday morning. Just rough to hear that news. Not one of those that you woke up Sunday or as you saw that news that you even expected to hear. Just didn't seem possible, and to hear of his passing today, very sad. So thoughts and prayers out to his family. So many people that have been impacted, players, coaches. You see it on social media. So many coaches, number of them on Twitter that have ties to Oklahoma, but also his time at Texas Tech, former quarterbacks that have gone on to be head coaches. I mean, he revolutionized, he and Hal Mummy revolutionized football offensively as we know it. So much of what they did there back in the 90s, 80s, whenever it was, late 90s is where it really seemed to come on at Kentucky. Tim Couch, before he was the number 1 overall pick, moving to Oklahoma for Mike Leach, then Texas Tech, and what the success they saw there. So much of what we see in football today came from Hal Mummy and Mike Leach, and just the offensive minds and football minds that they were. And then you just take into account the character that Leach was as well. And hearing so many stories about him and just the type of person he was. I remember, and I saw it come up again in the last day or two since that news broke of the heart attack or the health issue that sent him to the hospital. When Lincoln Riley was a student assistant or whatever at Tech, he's in Leach's office working on something. Leach gets a phone call, starts talking for 30 minutes. Phone call drops. He redials or calls him back, says, "Hey, I must have lost you." Talks to him for another 30 minutes, hangs up, and Lincoln's like, "Who was that?" He goes, "Oh, it was a wrong call, wrong number." I mean, there was guys that there was a sports writer that is up in Denver that used to write for one of the Oklahoma newspapers. He talked about he grew up in Norman, and his dad went and watched OU practice, and they were practicing at the rugby field, so they'd have to like walk back to and it was a decent walk, and a lot of the coaches would jog back or whatever with the players, and Leach was kind of lingering around, and the guy's dad was like, "Hey, coach, you want to ride?" He got to talking to Leach and realized, hey, I've kind of held him a little longer, and hey, do you want to ride back? And Leach is like, yeah, I don't want to jog. So he rides back with him. They end up talking for like 30 minutes or whatever. Leach starts telling him about how apartments are the best place to raise a family because they've got a pool and a tennis court and basketball courts and grill and blah, 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 blah. There's all these other kids in the apartment complex, this and that. I live in the apartment, it's great. So then he fast forward, the writer who was a kid at the time back in the late 90s, early 2000s, he gets to interview Leach, and he brings up at some point that he's from Norman, and Leach is like, "Oh, I used to live in an apartment in Norman." Starts telling him how great it is, and after he gets done, the kid's like, the reporter's like, "Yeah, my dad actually." He goes, "Oh, I remember that." It was just Leach was a guy that, I mean, he was very available to the media. He was quirky, and he was one of those that I think a lot of people thought, oh, when he retires, when he hangs it up, he'll end up being on College Game Day or one of those shows, and you just hate to see someone that seemed to love life as much as he did no longer with us.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I don't think a lot of people, especially the newer generation, will realize just how his fingerprints are all over this game that we know today. Truly, truly revolutionized offensive football in the past 2 decades. And just a breath of fresh air in the coaching landscape as well. In a world filled with a lot of hard-nosed guys, not a lot of personality, very businesslike. He was that crazy, that crazy uncle that came in with the lightheartedness that really could lift a mood in any situation, and he was desperately needed in college football. You can tell by his peers that he was desperately needed in those coaches' rooms, preseason meetings, with the likes of Nick Saban and all that in the SEC. And here comes Mike Leach, just making everybody laugh and crack up. And I know that even Nick Saban put out a statement about him today. It just seems that like everybody across the board respected him, and I'll always remember him for his contributions to the '99 Oklahoma team and beyond. Of course, so many memories. So definitely sad, but when you have a life like that, you're going to be remembered. So he's not going anywhere in our memories. So sad to hear the news, but definitely a life well lived.
Well, and you talk about you mentioned that '99 OU team, and we talked about it a few weeks ago with the success that Tennessee was having. Josh Heupel as the head coach, and you look back, and Leach was huge in getting Heupel to OU, from a JUCO to OU, and having success with a guy that was not highly recruited. I mean, and to be able to see what impact that had. I mean, you go back to that moment in time, in history, Mike Leach, newly hired offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, and what could have been if he wasn't able to get a Josh Heupel.
Mm-hmm.
Not only how different is OU football in that time frame, and even now, but also just college football in general. I mean, he went from that to Texas Tech, and they had so much B.J. Simmons and Sonny Dykes, and I mean, Sonny Cumbie, Sonny Cumbie and B.J. and Simmons, and you just Cliff Kingsbury and Graham Harrell and Michael Crabtree. You just go down the list and continue on through that list of guys and style. And I mean, you watch an NFL game now and how much shotgun formation there is, but also guys like a Lincoln Riley, we're going to talk about one of these guys, and we're probably going to talk. I mean, the Heisman Trophy winner, and Caleb Williams, and Baker Mayfield, and Kyler Murray, and blah blah blah. You just continue down the list, and they all have a tie back to Mike Leach. So, in that regard, it is truly going to have a lasting legacy that I think grows even more because he was taken away so soon or so
Right.
early.
And what more can you ask for out of your life? Just to put a bow on it, we always talk about the what ifs, and earlier in one of the previous episodes, we talked about what if Josh Heupel stayed at OU and where they'd be now if he took over the reins, for example. But going back then, it's like what would have happened had Mike Leach not been in Oklahoma? I don't think they would have had the success they sustained over the next 2 decades if not for Mike Leach. I mean, Bob Stoops obviously was the main, driving force of all that. But like you said, him bringing in Josh Heupel truly was like a butterfly effect that changed the history of Oklahoma. And that's special. I mean, we can only hope to have impacts like that in our lives. So very sad, but also very thankful that he was here to change the game and make memories.
Quick hitters on 3 guys that have those ties. Baker Mayfield has probably one of the most just mind-numbing, unbelievable, may just stop and go, wow, did that really just happen? Performances on Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime. 2 days, not even 2 days. I mean, it was. He arrived at 7:15 LA time on last Tuesday, and was playing in a game Thursday evening that ended at 8:15 or whatever, 8:30 LA time. So not even 48 hours later, he's in a game, in an NFL game, regular season contest, and he ends up leading the team that he probably didn't even know half the guys' names in some regards to a game-winning touchdown on a final drive. I mean, it was just unbelievable, and it was a lot of the Baker Mayfield that we knew and have seen at times. And I think Tony Gonzalez in the postgame kind of talked about it. He was saying that your career has been a roller coaster. You've had highest of highs, winning a playoff game in Cleveland. I mean, who could have ever thought that would happen? And then the lows of being benched and traded and benched for P.J. Walker, who was starting in the XFL. It was fun to see Baker playing like the Baker Mayfield so many people know he can be and do. And honestly, to have him with a offensive mind like Sean McVay, this will be the truest test for Baker Mayfield in the NFL, in my opinion.
I agree. And I've been coaching myself for close to a week now to not go off the rails with this rant. So I'm going to try and keep it on the road here. So, but yeah, you mentioned the 48 hours, not even. And I mean, let's be real. He had to get some sleep during that time too. So it's, it's like he's got to eat. He's got to spend some time with family. It's just like he probably had, I don't know, probably 20 hours of actual time to study and get an NFL playbook, well enough into his mind that he could run an entire offense. And it was just so good to see. Like it was one of those moments of being a Baker fan that you feel validated. And those moments are so huge when you're a Baker Mayfield fan, because highest of highs, lowest of lows. I mean, let's be honest. I'm the biggest Baker defender there is, and I will, reel off 30 excuses to why something wasn't successful here, something wasn't successful there. But there are these moments that happen where I just go, see?
Yeah.
You think a top 32 quarterback in the entire world, meaning the NFL, but let's be honest, 32 people in this world could play NFL quarterback, if that. You look at what he did there, and you tell me he's not a starting quarterback? You tell me he's not capable of being a starting quarterback on a winning franchise? I mean, it just drives me crazy because I know it's there, and I just want it to happen. I just feel like there's a lot of outside factors. Of course, some have been brought on by Baker himself. I'm not going to act like he's completely innocent. But I think a lot of his attitude problems or whatever, perceived attitude issues, I think they're way overblown. I will die on that hill. This man has had 30 different offensive coordinators in his 5 seasons in the NFL. I mean, constant changes. He started off in Cleveland. Head coach got replaced. Kevin Stefanski came in, learned a whole new system, yada, yada, yada. They managed to win a playoff game in Cleveland, which in a court of law would end the case right there. It would be settled. Like that's enough proof as is right there. And you see how that team's doing now with Jacoby Brissett leading the way. I mean, Jacoby Brissett isn't some, scrub off the streets, but it's like, I think it's becoming clear that the Browns definitely made a mistake, but we all knew that from the beginning, except for them, I guess. But I just would have liked to have seen him treated in a much better way. I mean, you want an adult as your quarterback, and then you go and make a deal like that and give Baker the boot. I mean, that's got to be demoralizing for him. I mean, let's be honest. Let's think about his mindset when that happens. And then going to Carolina right before training camp, trying to learn a new team, learn a new system, having that god-awful offensive coordinator, Ben McAdoo, and him just trying to make this work. Christian McCaffrey gets traded away. Robbie Anderson gets traded away. Just constant chaos around him. And it's not being caused by him. It's really not. And I am so glad that they came to an agreement and got him out of town, because it seemed like they were the Panthers and Baker seemed like it was cordial and like it was mutual, and they wanted the best for both sides of the party, which I appreciate. But it was not a good fit there. I mean, it just wasn't. And to go to a team with Sean McVay at the helm, you finally see light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like. I mean, this, like you said, this is going to be the test, and I'm so excited to see how it plays out. But this, I have hope again, and I haven't had it all year. But I think if a McVay manages to, I don't know, get the best out of Baker these next 4 games, next year is going to be so interesting. It's going to be so very interesting.
Well, and that's the other. I had a lot of people that were like, "Why would they? Why Baker? They've got Matt Stafford, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Well, Stafford did not perform well this year
Yeah.
behind
a bad injury
behind a lackluster offensive line. But yes, it's a spinal injury
and continuous injury problems on top of that.
yeah,
By the way,
I mean, a spinal injury, you don't know how that's going to respond. I mean, you just don't know. And he won his Super Bowl.
right?
He reached that pinnacle, and he's getting up there in age. And does he look at it and say, you know what, I'm going to walk away? Made plenty of money. Is that I just, in my mind, that seems like a major possibility.
And it is a major possibility, and why not? It's just like it's playing with house money this season. I mean, it's a free
That's 1.3.
test run.
It's 1.3 million for what,
Yeah.
5 weeks? I mean,
Yeah,
it makes sense financially as a club to do.
yeah, and you get a test from both sides. Kind of get a test run. Baker gets to show what he can do in case it doesn't work out in LA, which it very well could. I think a lot of teams are going to be watching how he performs. But hey, what if it does work out? What if Stafford does decide, I've done all I can do here. I really don't have it in me to go after this thing again. And then you look at, the off season that the Rams are going to have, and what are they going to bring in to help. You get Cooper Kupp back next year, one of the best receivers in the entire league. Things are looking up there. Maybe get some backfield help. Who knows? I just love him being under McVay. Just him having that. It seems like it's just like a steady rock at the coaching position that he hasn't had in the professionals since he came in, honestly.
Yeah, I completely agree. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Was that just lightning in a bottle, or can it sustain? And we will find out over the next 4 weeks for sure.
And what's amazing is that the you could just tell by the play calling. Guy had been in there, 2 days or whatever, and they molded the playbook to his strengths. I mean, he had a limited set of plays on his wristband, which is understandable, but you noticed it was the plays that put Baker in the best spot to succeed, which he was not getting in Carolina. I mean, they established the run, hit that play action, got Baker moving. It was poetry in motion. It was so beautiful to see because we haven't seen that in a pretty long time with Baker because, I'm just going to say it over and over. That play calling in Carolina was suspect. It was terrible. Mm-hmm. It was putting him in positions to fail. It puts every quarterback on that roster in a position to fail. Sam Darnold came in and gave that team a shot in the arm, but you look at what he was doing, it's 14, 24, 120 yards and a touchdown, interception. I mean, it's not blowing you off the stat sheet. I mean, it's still not a place for any quarterback really to succeed. So, moral of the story is, it's that molding the playbook to your guys, and if you can get a guy like Baker Mayfield, get his confidence up over these next 4 games, I mean, hey, you could have just found a diamond in the rough, One thing I will point out, if you noticed on Thursday night, Baker didn't have any passes swatted down at the line of scrimmage, which was a huge problem in Carolina. And, we tend to always pin that on the quarterback, but it's like, hey man, there's so much that goes into that. You talk about blocking schemes, you talk about offensive play selection, it's just the Carolina Panthers couldn't figure it out, and they kept trying to go to the well that was dry as hell. And he goes to LA for 1 game, and it's like, oh, he's actually pretty good, pretty capable. So I'm excited. I've taken lots of meditation classes the last few days just to kind of come down from my high. So let's see how it goes from here. But it was definitely a high point in my week and that Baker validation that I seek so badly.
Last night, Monday Night Football, Kyler Murray, torn ACL. We find out today, open field, just running and tears his ACL, so his season is done. Will be interesting to see how fast he's able to return next season as the 2023 season gets underway. Would imagine it would be cutting it close, but the way guys seem to heal with ACLs recently, you just never know. So, interesting to watch that. It'll be. I'll be curious to see what the Cardinals do as well. Cliff Kingsbury did get an extension. I would think he sticks around for at least one more year, but they have been lackluster definitely this season, and I would imagine, if anything, some changes along that coaching staff.
Clock is ticking in Arizona, and it is becoming a very warm seat for Cliff Kingsbury. My main takeaway from that injury is that going to hamper him, next year and beyond? I mean, is that going to change the way he plays the game?
Yeah, I mean the way that he's so dynamic. You would have to think that is going to change what makes Kyler Murray so dangerous.
Yeah, and it could also be a situation where it's like this guy's got the arm talent as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not act like he's just a running quarterback, but it would be interesting to see if he kind of molds his game to more of that kind of stay in the pocket more type of passer. I don't know if that's if that's the game he's built for, but we'll see. I mean, he's got the arm talent, so I'm not counting him out yet. You hate to see that. Especially with a generational athletic talent like Kyler Murray at the quarterback position. But something to keep an eye on. I think next year is going to be do or die for that whole build there. I think they could blow it up if it's kind of keeps heading in this direction.
And then Caleb Williams wins the Heisman. I wouldn't say necessarily a shock there. The season that he had, leading a team that obviously was not anywhere near what their record showed. He definitely made them better. And the third Heisman Trophy winner under Lincoln Riley, who has been to 4 out of the last 5 Heisman Trophy presentations with 4 finalists, 3 winning it in his time as a head coach.
That kid is such a special talent, and I'm convinced that it's going to translate to the next level too. I mean, I'm going to say this about Caleb Williams, and I say this with 100% confidence. He is the best escape artist out of the pocket I have ever seen in my life. He sees things that he shouldn't be able to see. I mean, he has eyes in the back of his head. He has eyes on the side of his head. I mean, he has eyes everywhere, because I can't tell you how many times that pocket has collapsed and I thought, oh no, Caleb, you're about to get killed. And then he just spins out of it. And I'm just like, how did you see that? I have 30 cameras to look at, but you're looking up the field. It's just incredible. So his pocket presence, his athletic ability, his arm talent, I mean, and he's a gamer. I mean, he will give you all he has. He will run the guy over if necessary. It's those situations that it's like, my favorite team got the short end of the stick here, and I'm still rooting for this guy because that's how great he is. And I don't hold anything against Caleb Williams at all for leaving OU. I mean, he just wanted to do what was best for him, and I totally get that. And I'm going to continue to cheer him on, and I'm excited to see what he can do. And one more thing about that is, how about that bowl matchup for USC in the Cotton Bowl against Tulane? I think that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, that'll be. Is it bad that I'm already kind of leaning? I mean, I'm leaning towards USC potentially in a rout. I mean,
Well, those are the type of games where it's like Tulane is just a solid football club. They do everything right, but then it's like,
and they're going to
but
be
man,
excited
those
to be there.
athletes, those athletes, though,
Yes.
you know, that's the type of game where it's like,
Yes.
oh, this is where the athletes take
Is
over.
it a letdown for USC to be in this game because they're not in the college football playoff?
I don't think so. What have they been doing?
I agree.
I think it's a statement game. It's like, hey, we're here, and this is a statement for next year.
But I think there's that fear of could they be coming in down because they're not in the college football playoff, and Tulane, this is a big game for them and a chance to knock off a granddaddy of them all, power. I mean, traditional, your grandfather's football powerhouse type of program, even though that's not what USC has been in the last decade plus. There's still that name, and for a Tulane, that's huge. Is there that potential? Yeah, of course there's that potential. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think, like you said, it's going to be a statement for USC to roll in here and just completely destroy the Tulane Green Wave.
It is, and it's about next year's preseason rankings. It's about the first rankings that come out for the 2023 season. I mean, they're making their resume now. Let's be honest, because USC first year under Lincoln Riley. I mean, it was a great year for them. Let's be honest. I mean, there's no shame in being a top 10 team in your first year there after taking over kind of a train wreck for the, I don't know, last decade or so. I think they have a lot to look forward to. And Caleb Williams is going to be very, very scary for a lot of teams next year.
Bowl Mania time as well, Brad. So the bowl games schedules are set, as you mentioned. We are going to have a Bowl Mania challenge. ESPN.com, on the ESPN Fantasy app, you can search Game On Pod. Game On Pod. It's a public group. It's against the spread, so you all know how we've worked all season long. You can enter your picks, see how you match up against Brad and I. It's more how you match up against me.
Shut up.
Brad is...
I'm going to win this thing. Screw you.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. You say so, buddy.
And all you people in the comments section criticizing our picks, this is your chance to prove us wrong. This is your chance to rub it in our face and make us look even stupider. Join our, what's it called? Our pool.
Bowl Mania.
Bowl Mania. Join our Bowl Mania, baby. Show us how it's done, please.
Game On Pod.
Link in the bio.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's going to be some great bragging rights, some awesome prizes, wink, and a lot of fun. So I want to see all the talkers enter this, and I want to see how it's done. So please show us. And if I beat you, you know it's time to hang him up for good, probably.
Not good.
Yeah, not good.
What do you think, Antonio? Not good.
Yeah, thank you, Antonio.
And now the important question, does this count in our against the spread competition?
Oh.
That'd be interesting.
I didn't even thought about that. I feel like it has to be its own, like, separate.
Sounds like a guy who's scared, but okay.
I feel like it, well, I mean, we've talked about, like, seasons of our against the spread segment. Like, we would cut it off at the end of this one.
That confidence went away real quick.
And then we go to season 2, which would be the Bowl Mania. And then maybe season 3.
Okay.
The post-football.
All right.
That's what we talked about last week. Is that not what we talked about last
We
week?
didn't talk about anything last week.
2 weeks ago. Whatever.
You can't even get your facts straight.
Get your facts straight.
This guy's lying. He's scared.
This guy sounds like a politician to me. So yeah, Bowl Mania on ESPN, ESPN.com, ESPN app, the ESPN Fantasy app. Type in Game On Pod. It's public. You don't need a password or any of that. Just enter that. It's in our bio. And I'll redo that again. So if I pointed in the wrong direction, it's in our bio. So click on our faces, and then click the link.
You guys know where the bio is.
You know how to work TikTok. God, what's wrong?
Just click on it. Enter the stupid pool, okay?
Yeah, show us how good you are.
God. We'll let you host the show, all right? Show us how it's done.
Yeah, Arizona State fan. I still remember you.
Man, some of those comments can really cut deep, can't they?
After doing radio for that year, when people would call in and be like, "Hey, you tell that Steve Braun he sucks," I'd be like, "Oh, do I? I mean, yeah, I'll let him know." Happened more than you would realize.
Well, yeah, it's bad because it's like, oh yeah, you think my picks suck? Just watch, and then I'll go 0-3 that week and be like, okay, cool, you were right.
You were right. Meanwhile, I am 15-15 on the year. Just want
Okay.
to throw that out there.
Okay.
500.
Okay.
Pretty good.
That is pretty good.
So yeah, Bowl Mania. Be sure to go enter our contest, make your picks. Maybe you can win a date with Brad. I don't know. You'd have to pay your
Ooh.
expenses to Oklahoma or wherever Brad's vacationing at that time, and then
Yeah.
you can hang out with Brad.
Yeah. So winners get a date with me, or I can buy him dinner. I probably won't do physical stuff unless you talk sweet to me. But yeah, we'll talk about it. You win the competition, and then we'll talk about it, right?
You would have to make it go that way. All right, so bowl games. You already mentioned the USC matchup. Any other games that really tickle your fancy there?
There really are. I saw this schedule and I was like, man, there's a handful of very tasty games here. We talked about USC and Tulane and the Cotton Bowl. I'm also on the lookout for the Sugar Bowl. We've got Alabama versus K-State. I think it's going to be interesting to see just how good this K-State team is, because they've been giving the Big 12 a lot of problems this year, and they've been a tough out. So it's going to be an interesting measuring stick for them. Adrian Martinez, but we'll see how that goes. And also another kind of measuring stick type of game, Notre Dame versus South Carolina in the Gator Bowl. That's a spicy one.
Yep.
I see that
It's a
possibly
spicy meatball.
ending very badly for Spencer Rattler. God love him.
Really?
But yeah.
He's played well in the last 3 weeks or so.
He has. But
All of a
it's gonna-
sudden, he was like, "This is how I play football."
Yeah, I don't think it's a permanent thing, though. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Also love the Alamo Bowl, Texas versus Washington. OU, whatever. Hopefully they cover the spread. Who knows?
Kansas, Arkansas is an interesting one to me. Liberty Bowl.
I thought so too.
I don't know why. I think it's a. I don't know why that one interests me. I think it's partially because I want to see Kansas have success, especially as OU moves out of the Big 12. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? But I don't. The other side of it, I'm like, I like Arkansas's coach, and I want to see them succeed and him stick around. And they're all those Arkansas fans, man. I won't say who's worse, because Texas A&M is definitely worse when it comes to fan bases and expectations.
Oh, yeah.
But like Arkansas's up there.
Yeah.
Like Arkansas thinks they want to go back to the Frank Broyles days. And I'm like, bro,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
50 something years ago.
not sure where they get this confidence from.
Yeah,
but
it like we get it. You got Walmart up the road, okay?
Well, it's
But
funny because it's like
you got Tyson
OU.
Chicken, but
I feel like OU has a reason to, we're a blue blood. We really are a blue blood, and we have a lot more reason to be confident than the Arkansas fans.
and
But like it's
OU's been
we are
winning.
never confident,
OU's been winning conference championships
right?
like for the last decade and a half. I mean,
We don't have that level of confidence.
like Bob Stoops showed up and they started winning conference championships practically. Arkansas hasn't even like made a conference championship game.
mm-hmm.
Like, have they even really competed for a division in the last 20 something years?
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're like, they go 6-6 this season, and they're fire everybody, fire them all. Sam Pittman, Odom, Bryles, which Odom left. We'll get into that. I think they're going to miss Odom. First of all, I think like damn good defensive coordinator, and you just let him walk out the door. Oregon.
I do have a fun. Oh,
Oregon, North Carolina.
Oh, okay, you took my fun game alert.
Holiday Bowl.
To do. I was going to do a whole thing.
Go
I was
for it.
probably going to have a graphic even.
Here,
who
step
knows?
away. I'll step back and let you go. Take it, Brad.
Okay.
Where you go?
Okay.
Where you want to go with this?
Okay. Rewind 15 seconds ago.
3, 2, 1.
Fun game alert. Wednesday, December 28th. I don't know what you're doing around 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, but we've got a fun game alert, people. We've got the Oregon Ducks versus the North Carolina Tar Heels, and I expect it to be, I don't know, 200 combined points probably. It'll be interesting to see how Bo Nix performs. This seems like a spot where he'll have a monster game because it doesn't really mean much, but hey, he'll have a national spotlight in a game that doesn't mean a lot, so he'll do great. And then, of course, North Carolina and May as their quarterback. A lot of NFL prospects interested in this one. Holiday Bowl. That's one of my favorite bowls, and I tell you something. That I don't know why, but that one has always stuck out to me. I remember growing up. I think OSU would play in it from time to time, but
Yeah.
something about that, I don't know, that San Diego vibe out there on the West Coast, and it's always on a day where it's like nothing's going on. So it's like, let's watch the Holiday Bowl.
I didn't realize that they're playing that in Petco in the baseball stadium now.
Yes. I've been to Petco this
Where
summer.
haven't you been, Brad?
Good question. In a woman's loving embrace, but
Oh gosh.
the Petco Park
It
is
always
very
goes
nice.
back to-
I will tell you that. So yeah, that'll be fun. The San Diego people are longing for football. So
Another game that I'm interested to see, Clemson, Tennessee.
yes,
Partially because I want to see how Clemson does with the new quarterback that took over the
that would
freshman.
probably be my favorite bowl game if Hooker was still healthy.
Yes, and then that's the other side of it. I kind of want to see, can Tennessee figure something out over the
Mhm.
next few weeks?
And how apropos is Tennessee and Clemson playing in the Orange Bowl?
Yeah. Cade Klubnik is the young man out of Austin, Texas that I was thinking of.
Should have been starting all year. Yes.
Yeah, should have took over about mid-season for sure. Because old DJ is in the transfer portal now.
And he is garbage.
Has he announced where he's going?
No, but he should probably go be a big fish in a little pond, though.
Oh, yeah.
Just my advice.
We'll get into coaching changes as well. That has Tulsa written all over it, doesn't it?
Oh, God.
DJ,
Don't do that to me.
Kevin Wilson is like, yeah, I can.
Why don't you just send
I can
Bo
take
Nix to
care of that.
Tulsa?
I can make that happen.
Adrian Martinez got 10 more years of eligibility.
No, the one I really want to see at Tulsa, and there's no chance it happens. Hudson Card would be amazing
That would be cool.
at TU. Don't see it happening, but it would be awesome. So yeah. Other bowl games. I was trying to see. if there was another. I felt like there was one more that I was curious about. Oh, Utah Penn State. You know I love the Utes.
I do too. This is a Ute household.
Cam
here.
Rising. It just seems like it could be a fun game. See if they're for real. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. So, yeah. Bowl Mania. Go find us. ESPN. We got a group. The other match. Oh, the other one that Louisville and Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
With Satterfield leaving Louisville to go be the Cincinnati head coach. I'm just curious to see how that plays out. And you got a lot of teams that have coaches that have left. You also have coaches that got fired. UNT with Seth Luttrell. Just interesting. UAB's getting it. I mean, they've got Trent Dilfer now as their head coach. Who would have thought that? Just a lot of changes of coaches within these bowl games. So it'll be fun to see how those teams respond with interim head coaches and all of that. All right, Brad. We're almost an hour in. So
Yeah. Hyperdrive now.
let's just quickly Tulsa, Kevin Wilson, thoughts.
Could be better, could be worse.
Fair.
I'm not super excited and I'm not super bummed. So I'll count it as a win. Who knows? Give him a shot. I mean, he's got a resume. I can't argue with that. You know, I wasn't his biggest fan, but you know, obviously he's doing something right. So maybe he can get that going. But we will see.
The thing to me is, who does he bring in on his coaching staff? Who is his offensive coordinator? Who's his defensive coordinator? Does he bring in a name? Does he bring in some? How is he able to recruit? Is he able to get some transfer portal guys because he was at Ohio State? He's had success with some quarterbacks, that kind of deal.
Well, it's interesting to see, you know, the guys that are choosing to stay as well. That, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
quarterback that originally entered the portal with Drew.
Yes.
Can't think of his name right now, but that's an interesting aspect to keep track of.
Yeah, I think can he? His press conference was interesting to me.
Yeah, his whole
'Cause he's
career has
like-
been interesting. To me.
He's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to talk to the staff. I'm going to talk to the guys that are already on the roster. I'm ready, but I also have to go coach the college football playoff, and I don't know who I'm going to have on my staff, and I'm not in a hurry to get it done. I'm like, does this guy know that he's got to recruit? Like transfer portal opens, it's already open. Like you got hired and you're doing this, and like the portal's open. You might want some of those guys. And by the way, signing day is 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm.
You do realize that as well, right, Kevin? Braylon Braxton is the name that you
That's
were
it. That's
you were
it. Thank
looking
you.
for. Thank you, Google. Other hires that took place, I mentioned Trent Dilfer to UAB, Barry Odom to UNLV. That was an interesting one to me. Eric Morris takes over at North Texas. He was at Incarnate Word before G.J. Kinney. He's the reason it opened up. He left Incarnate Word, went to Washington State, took his quarterback with him, who was the freshman of the year and at the FCS level, goes there for a year. Now he's back in Texas at North Texas, taking over a program that saw Seth Luttrell be let go a few days after Ren Baker, who I know and worked with, is now the West Virginia AD.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Ren. Awesome to see that for him and his family moving to a Power 5 conference school. Crazy thing with Ren. 2004, he was the AD and principal at Valiant High School in Valiant, Oklahoma, down in the southeastern part of the state. Now, fast forward nearly 2 decades later, 20 years later, and he is now the AD, Vice President of Athletics at West Virginia in the Big 12, and one of the better guys and better ADs out there. Colorado hiring Dion. Brother, I think the Pac-12 is about to get real interesting, and it also wouldn't shock me if all of a sudden you see some of those Pac-12 schools end up in the Big 12, and that thing starts rolling.
Yes. I don't know. Do you want me to comment on that or?
Sure.
Okay.
You can comment on Dion in Colorado.
Dion is really built for this new age of college football. Let me tell you that. And the recruiting, the NIL deals, the transfer portal, the whole thing. Good for him. I mean, it's about time we stopped pretending that college football wasn't a business. You know what I mean? There for a while, we really acted like it was just about getting these kids a free education and all this. Meanwhile, people were making millions upon millions of dollars off of them. So I know there's some kinks to work out, but I'm glad that we're finally treating it as the big business that it is, and Dion's really leading the charge there. He's coming to Power 5 school, Colorado. What an interesting situation that's going to be. I think do you think he can succeed at these higher level jobs? I mean, is he built for that?
I have turned into a what does the staff look like type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's great. You've got this head coach. What's his staff look like? And I think that plays a big part. And it seems to me, at least, that Dion is surrounding himself with guys that can recruit, that can coach football, that have had success other places. He's getting them in there. I think he'll be able to go recruit. He's already shown he can recruit. I mean, to be able to pull in the best player in the nation and beat Alabama for that guy to bring him to an FCS school. Yes, he had the HBCU angle, and he played that, and he was able to get some young black men to come and jump in on the vision he had for that. You're starting to hear a lot about Jackson State and a lot of the reason as to why he was leaving and did leave. But I think he's going to be he relates to those guys. He relates to their parents. He understands it, and he's been in their shoes, and I think he's going to be able to recruit, and I think he's going to be able to, with a place like Colorado and places like that have the resources, have the staff salary pool that is competitive. He's going to be able to go out, and if they start winning games, they're going to start bringing in even more money, and they're going to be able to go out and get donors to give money. And I think you're starting to maybe even see a little bit of a potential for, if the Broncos aren't having success and Dion's there and they're having success, that some of those football fans may say, you know what, I'm not going to spend my money with the Denver Broncos. I'm going to go watch Coach Prime and the Buffaloes take on USC for as long as they remain in the Pac-12, but other Pac-12 schools, because you're starting to see some new names head coaching wise also in the Pac-12 that could have success as well. You still there, Brad? I can hear you. It sounds like
Yes.
playing with your microphone.
Taking notes here. Sorry.
Oh. Using those notes, eh? You can use those
Yes.
takes later if you want when you're at the bar talking to girls.
Yeah. I'm actually
Whatever
just
you do.
drawing pictures of butts, but yeah.
I figured. Let's move on. Transfer portal. Not a whole lot out there so far, from what I saw and could tell. Lots of names in the portal. Not a lot of people deciding where they're going to go yet. OU did get, I want to say, a pretty decent pickup in the portal. Signed or got a verbal commit from a safety or corner that was in the portal, or not in the portal. It was a recruit, but his brother is an edge defensive end from Indiana that had entered the portal. So the McCullough boys head to Norman.
Thank God.
And then you also get Austin Stogner back from South Carolina at the tight end position, which
Things are coming together,
I
baby.
personally think. I mean, I think getting Stogner is a big deal.
It is.
I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's just, I feel like he's able to. They're losing receivers. They lost Weiss. They lost Braden Willis, who, if you would have said, if you would have told me I would say that out loud, as if that was a huge thing in the receiving game, I would have told you you're crazy. But here we are, and all of a sudden, it's important to be able to get a guy at tight end like an Austin Stogner, and I think it's gonna be big for whoever ends up being the starting quarterback for the Sooners next year. All right, Brad, let's go to our top three, and we'll do this one quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Goofy top three in some regards. We'll pull back to the bowl games. These are our top three favorite bowl game names or funniest bowl game names according to Brad and Steve. You want me to go first?
Yes, please.
All right. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go way back in the time machine. All the way to 1944, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
The Oil Bowl is just a fun one to me. Played in Houston. Makes sense.
Checks out.
Lasted only 3 years. Tulsa actually played it in 1946. But the Oil Bowl, just a fun one to me. My number 2, the Salad Bowl. Played from 1948 to 1955. I mean, the fact that the Salad Bowl is not still around is very disappointing to me.
That was on my list, but go ahead.
I mean, you can still use it. It's fine.
Okay.
We can share. We can share top three.
Go ahead.
It's fine. So the Salad Bowl.
Do not take my salad toss joke, though.
No, I would not.
Problems.
I would never. That one went from 1948 to the 1955 season. Yeah, I just Salad Bowl. Like, why is that one not around, or why has it not come back? Is my question.
Yeah, agreed.
It just doesn't make sense. Played in Phoenix. What's that? Uh-oh. I'm losing Brad. Did I lose you? Oh, there you are. You're back. You're back. You were just...
I'm here.
You were going robot voice.
Sorry.
Good to have you back. And
Thank you. I'm running salad tossing jokes. Sorry.
I figured. The internet was like, nope, we are not going to allow that.
Yeah.
It's that child protection I've got on my internet. And then the last one. I'm going to go with one that is more recent. To 1970. No, I'm kidding. Outback Bowl, which is no longer. I know, disappointing. I think it was fun because they had the breaded shrimp, like mascot type deal, and they really played off. I mean, the bloomin' onions all over the place. It was just fun. And if you don't like Outback, then you can go do whatever Brad's thinking you should do with a salad bowl.
Okay. Outback. I'm an Outback guy, so I support this. Bloomin' onions
like a
for
bloomin'
life.
onion, don't you? Yeah.
I love bloomin'. I mean, if I thought my heart could hold up, I would eat bloomin' onions every day. Okay. My top three.
I mean, it is an onion. I mean, an onion has to be healthy, right?
Yeah, just
not fried
dip
in,
that sucker
not battered and fried, though.
the worst things, yeah, and then dip it in a sauce that is probably I
No
don't
way
know
that
1,000 calories per
probably got
serving.
mayo in it. And
Yeah, it's got all the.
is that
gross
where
stuff
you're
in it.
going? Did I
They
lead you?
probably
Did
fry
I?
it in
Was that a
that.
transition? Did I lead you into? No,
No, you didn't.
not the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
No.
Okay.
Okay, my top 3 silly, ridiculous, fun bowl games. As Steve mentioned on his list, the Salad Bowl. Steve talked about this in the late 40s and early 50s. The Salad Bowl saw a lot of great matchups, but the greatest Salad Bowl matchup of all time came between North Texas State and Texas State Teachers College in a real toss-up game. Salad Bowl became the Fiesta Bowl after 1955. So, will we ever see it come back? Who knows? Maybe Fiesta Bowl can let us have it, just as a nice little treat. Toss us some salad. I'm gonna go with the Gotham Bowl.
See, I like that one too. Yes.
And a fun fact about the Gotham Bowl, which is really what made me pick this. Gotham Bowl kind of sounds like a badass name. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
I just like the idea of that.
Immediately go to Batman, right?
Absolutely. It sounds cool. It's not even silly or anything. But what did make it funny and what did make it make my list? I'm saying make a lot, but I'm excited. Initially, it was a March of Dimes fundraiser, but in 1961 and 1962, it lost money in both years. Womp womp.
Womp, womp, womp.
But they should have played on that angle, because that sounds like something a Batman villain would do. Steal from the March of Dimes, make them lose money. I mean, we can make this work, guys. And then finally, this one I just admire and I appreciate because it feels like the ultimate flex. I'm going with the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
I had that one also on my list.
How cool is that? We all want to do that, right? If we had the money, we would buy our own bowl game, wouldn't we?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just an all-time move to me, and this year's got a pretty good game. Washington State versus Fresno State. Make your selections in our Bowl Mania pool. I actually have Fresno State against the spread there, so fun little callback. But yeah, so give me the Salad Bowl, the Gotham Bowl, and Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
Wait a second. On the Wikipedia for the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, there's a mention of the Will Rogers Bowl, which was held in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, back in 1947.
Whoa.
What? I feel like that needs to come back.
That would be cool. We need a bowl game for sure.
It was played at Taft Stadium, which is where the now paused, I guess you could say, USL team, soccer team, plays their games.
Mm-hmm.
They have not played there. They will not have played there in 2 years after this upcoming season. But yeah, that's where they played. Interesting. That needs to come. I mean, bring it back. Let's do this. Let's put a bowl game in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
People would go. Just don't put it in Tulsa. Nobody would go.
We need something to cheer for this year, especially.
Nobody goes to Tulsa games anyways, so why would they go to a bowl game?
No, I wouldn't.
All right. Let's transition into our fantasy football picks. Brad, you are 6-4 on the season after you won 2 weeks ago, 54-37.5. I got 0 points out of David Njoku. Thank you for nothing. He was questionable early in the season or early that week when we recorded on a Tuesday night, and then by the weekend he did not play against the Houston Texans at all.
Name of the game, baby.
Also the same week that Kenneth Walker went out injured. So good pick,
Okay.
Steve.
What you're saying is I'm winning.
Yeah, so you're up 6-4, and that means you get to have first pick this week.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to start off with PRIMEtime Taylor Heineke, baby, versus the New York Giants. This is a Sunday night football game, division rivalry, major playoff implications here. National spotlight. I think this is a perfect stage for Taylor Heineke to do his Taylor Heineke silly ass things. Give me the Heine against the Giants.
Golly, what is with you tonight? Tossing salad, Heine.
A lot of butt stuff. You're right.
A lot of just
This
stuff.
is a lot of butt stuff. Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
I'm drawing butts. I mean,
Yeah. All right. Transitioning quickly.
happy holidays.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. I'm gonna go with Tony Pollard versus the Jacksonville
God.
Jaguars because A,
I knew I should have picked that first.
Brad hasn't used him yet,
God, I hate you so much.
so I do this all the time to Brad.
Dude. You're
All the
trying to do
time.
it on purpose. I know
Yes,
you
I am.
are. Okay.
Totally am. I'm totally
Mamma
looking at who
mia.
you've picked, who's available, who I would possibly want. Then I make that pick early because I also know, hey, he's already picked so and so at this position. That's who I want this week. Don't need to. I can wait until the final
Okay.
2 picks. That's why I'm doing better in the Dynasty League than you, Brad.
Oh, who's winning this though?
Yeah, you're up on this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just check
that's
it.
fine. Whatever. All right, so Tony Pollard taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if you've noticed, but Tony Pollard, all of a sudden the Dallas Cowboys were like, hey, we have
Yeah.
2 pretty good running backs. One of them is cheaper salary-wise, younger, more productive. We should maybe use him more often, and they have, and they've had a lot of success. And his name is Tony Pollard, and he is on my team this week, which means he'll probably get injured and only play like 1 snap.
That
And
would
then
be
Zeke,
justice. Yeah.
Zeke will have 275 yards and 3 touchdowns and be jumping into the kettle.
Serves you right.
He will bring the kettle from Arlington to Jacksonville with all their rat droppings in their concession stand.
Wow.
Did you not see that story?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
You're really bringing it up though.
I did. Sorry to all our listeners in Jacksonville. I think we have more in Ukraine than we do Jacksonville.
Hey, they're going to through some tough times in Ukraine, so we're helping them.
And here we are with Brad talking about butt stuff.
Yes, sir. I'm
right.
going with Zonovan Knight,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
New York Jets running back against the Detroit Lions. Mainly because my pick was stolen and I needed to come up with someone quickly, and I know I
Never.
haven't picked him.
It's a good pick.
Thank you.
He has been
Pulled it out of my butt.
He has been impressive. There it is again. He has been impressive. Michael Carter. I mean, they've got Breece Hall,
Right.
Michael Carter, and then they go with Zonovan Knight. I mean, Breece gets hurt, and Zonovan
And
Knight.
they brought in James Robinson even.
Yeah, they did. They traded for him on or around the deadline, and they're going with an undrafted rookie running back. Who would have thunk it, Brad?
Not I.
Not I as well. All right, I am going to jump to... Let's go... I'm going to go with Keenan Allen against the Tennessee Titans.
Good pick.
Allen finally healthy. Justin Herbert playing well. Definitely looked like the Justin Herbert everybody expected. and what we saw so many glimpses of last season. Hopefully it continues. Keenan healthy again. Mike Williams is healthy, so it's not just relying on him at wide receiver. So many options on that team now. Joshua Palmer, DeAndre Carter, and yet Keenan Allen is old steady, especially in a PPR. Give me Keenan Allen as they take on the Tennessee Titans.
And I am staying with the same game, same team, and I am taking Gerald Everett as my tight end. Main reason here, I'm running out of tight end, so give me Everett. Analysis.
You can only get that here, folks. I'm going to go with Evan Ingram versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Jacksonville Jaguars tight end has been overly impressive. Had 22-something points, 2 touchdowns this past week, which means he'll probably do nothing, but taking on a Dallas team that has allowed some tight ends to have success so far this year. Ingram has all of a sudden been what everybody thought he was going to be back with the New York Giants. He has found success, and Trevor Lawrence is playing incredibly well. Doug Peterson doing what Doug Peterson does best as a offensive coordinator, offensive-minded head coach, and Evan Ingram has been the recipient of many of those passes on a team that really doesn't have. I mean, you look at, they don't really necessarily have a wide receiver one. I mean, do you count Christian Kirk? Zay Jones?
No.
No, you don't.
No.
So Evan Ingram has really stepped up into that role.
And to finish it out for me, I'm going to take wide receiver Justin Jefferson versus the Colts because I haven't taken Justin Jefferson yet,
That
and
is
I don't know why.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
You haven't. Wow. Interesting.
I know.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Funny.
Interesting.
Who are they playing?
They are playing the Colts, your team.
Gosh. See,
chef's kiss.
I haven't even paid attention to the
Destiny.
Colts recently. Hopefully, that's a night game, isn't it, on a Saturday?
Yes, it is. I know, primetime Kirk, I know.
Primetime Kirk.
But Justin Jefferson is not primetime Kirk.
Primetime Kirk. I'm going to finish it out. Patrick Mahomes.
Pull this clip for next week. Thank you.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes. That's all I really need to say. But I will add, he is playing the Houston Texans. So, Mahomes. So I'm going Mahomes, Pollard, Allen, and Ingram. You've got Heineke, Knight, Jefferson, and Everett.
Yes, sir.
As you look to grow your 6-4 lead out to 7-4, I'm hoping we get closer to 500. All right, let's move on to Against the Spread. I don't have your updated standings because I did not write down who you picked last time, so
I went
that's
3-0.
on me. Nah, probably not. If anything, if I had to guess, you were 9-16-2 entering that 2 weeks ago.
I'm pretty sure I was 1-2, honestly.
And that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
If I had to guess, you were probably 10. You're probably 10, 18-2 now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That sounds about right. I am 15-15 on the season. I went
double digits. Though.
2-1 last time we did this, and let's hop into it. Bowl game action because, like I said last time, I'm College Steve. I will not pick NFL games. I'm avoiding it, Brad.
Wow. Is that why you didn't want to do a show last week?
They're dangerous. They're just dangerous. I would have been
I see what happened.
No, I would have been picking like the North Dakota State game. South Dakota.
Okay.
I would have been like South Dakota State,
tricky.
give me the points. I don't even care what it is. We'll go find them. We'll talk to Brad's bookie. Whatever we got to do.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to lead it off. The Duluth Trading Cure Bowl in Orlando. Texas, San Antonio, UTSA. The Roadrunners +2. 2-point dogs to Troy. UTSA, number 25 in the nation. Troy, number 24. Both teams 11-2. Frank Harris, the quarterback for Texas San Antonio. He's coming back next season. Jeff Traylor, their head coach. I like what is happening down in San Antonio with UTSA and their football program. Give me the Roadrunners. +2 versus Troy in the Duluth Trading Cure Bowl, which means you're going to have to watch a lot of those awkward commercials talking about junk and underwear.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next pick. I didn't know if you were going to turn that into some butt stuff thing because that seems to be the trend today.
Who does that?
You do.
Oh.
Let's go to the Frisco Bowl. Another Conference USA team, UNT. I'm not taking them. They lost Seth Luttrell, new head coach coming in, Eric Morris. He's not going to be in charge of this game later this week. Interim head coach for the Mean Green. They are 7-6 on the season. They face a Boise State team who is 9-4. Give me the Broncos. Boise State -10.5. 10.5 point favorites in the Frisco Bowl, even though it's practically a home game for UNT. I like Boise State on the road in this contest. -10.5. And to wrap it up, let's go to Vegas. Vegas, baby. SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Oregon State, 14th in the nation, 9-3 on the year. They face the Florida Gators, who are 6-6. Give me Oregon State -10 in this contest over the Gators in Vegas. Those are my 3 against the spread picks on this opening week of Bowl Mania.
Okay. Florida's without their quarterback as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And, the Beavers be beavin', so I'm with you. Okay.
You love the Beavers.
I love Beavers so much. All right. Best bets of the week. I'm going to start off with the San Francisco 49ers -3.5 at Seattle. Normally, this would be a scary line for me. Playing away in Seattle, that is a tough environment to get away with a win from. And San Francisco's without their top 2 quarterbacks. So, boy, beginning of the year, you'd tell me that, I would be nowhere near this game. But hey, here we are. Brock Purdy, baby.
Purdy.
I really think Carolina exposed Seattle's defense last week. They just kept pounding the running game, and they wore the Seahawks down. I think the 49ers are gonna know that they can do that all game, and I see a lot of yardage coming on the ground for the 49ers. 3.5 doesn't worry me too much. I think it'll probably be a 7-10 point game. So give me the 49ers at Seattle. Okay, next up, I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals -3.5 at Tampa Bay. The Bucs are kind of a dumpster fire this year. They have a shot at the playoffs because of their division, but man, they have not been impressive at all. They just haven't gotten in sync with each other really at any point this year. And of course, we're now getting into December, January, so it is, of course, Joe Burrow's season. And the Bengals are rounding into form, people. They are looking scary. And I'm riding with the hot team. Give me Bengals -3.5. And finally, speaking of hot teams, a hot team all year long, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles -9 at the Chicago Bears. I think that should be obvious, but I'll give you a couple of reasons why I'm taking it. Chicago ranks 29th in defensive points per game. Philly's the number 1 offense in the league, of course, with 29.7 points per game. And hey, they have the 7th ranked defense in the league. On top of that, I think they are going to tear up that Chicago defense, score a lot of points. Justin Fields will not be able to keep up. He might have some cool runs here and there, but Eagles are going to pull away. Give me Philadelphia -9 at Chicago.
All right. NFL Brad. He loves the NFL.
Yes, sir.
And it doesn't necessarily love him back. So I'm going to go UTSA +2, Boise State -10.5, Oregon State -10. Brad?
Yes, I have 49ers -3.5, Bengals -3.5, and the Philadelphia Eagles -9.
All right. Another fun show.
Yes, this was like a extended director's cut here.
Yeah. Hour 30, almost. So apologies. If you, for some reason, jump to the end, you could fast forward through like the first 10 minutes if you don't want to hear about my kids' Christmas concert.
Or
thing.
like the middle, like 40 minutes where I just talk about butts.
Yeah.
Pick what you want to listen to.
Whatever you're into.
Whatever you're into, baby.
We give you a charcuterie board of sports talk podcast
That's right.
style.
I like that. I'm going to write that down.
Write it down. You're going to make some graphic that has that.
Yeah, it's going to have a butt on it.
Oh, gosh. All right. Again, on that whole, if you want to date Brad, send a DM or something to us. Because obviously he needs something.
Yeah, or, if you're a straight male and you win and you want me to, like, take out your ex-girlfriend and make her miserable, I'm also good at that. So, options are open.
Or your current girlfriend if you're trying to get rid of her.
Yeah. If you want to look better, I'm your guy.
All right. Well, you can find us.
I'm insufferable.
So
I'm the worst.
I keep coming back.
I wish I could quit you.
I wish I could quit you.
First Brokeback Mountain. Oh my God. First Brokeback Mountain quote of the year for us. Clip it.
All right.
I'm acting like we have a assistant here to do all this for us when it's actually just
Producer.
us.
Yeah. Like I'm over here with shoestrings and cans, some duct tape, chicken wire.
Let's just make up a fake name and act like we have.
That would be hilarious to act like we have a producer.
Let's do it.
We'll
Let's think
work
of
on
the
that.
name. Yeah, we'll take.
We're hiring.
We'll take a vote.
Yeah, we're hiring a producer.
We're hiring. Yeah.
I'll post it on the website. You can follow us on Twitter at GameOnGuys. We're also on Facebook and TikTok at GameOnPod. Website is gameonpod.com, and you can always email us. Email gameon@gmail.com. Maybe in 2023 we'll add some YouTube, Instagram. What else do you guys want? I don't know. You talk to us.
You got it. Big things are coming.
We'll do things. We're adding to it.
I've got some time off coming up, baby. I'm gonna do lots of
Just scary.
stuff.
We may actually do one live. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh yeah.
Next week. I'm heading your way, Brad. So maybe I can. I don't know if you're going to be there. Knowing you, you'll probably like skip out of town and
Probably.
be riding roller coaster somewhere.
That's me.
That is you.
She has a name.
Hey, I see what you did there.
Oh boy.
Oh, you
Feeling feisty tonight.
You
Sorry.
never introduced me to any of your lady friends.
No.
You're afraid I'll run them off.
Hedging my bet there.
Even more so. They'll leave faster than they do already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. So, Game On Pod, TikTok and Facebook. GameOnPod.com is our website. That's where you can find all the ways to listen to us. iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcast as well. All available at GameOnPod.com. Email us, gameon@gmail.com. And on Twitter, we are at GameOnGuys. For Brad Bollinger, I am Steve Braun. This has been
1, 2, 3.
Game On.
Are you ready, America? It's time for another edition of Game On. With your host, Stevie Ray Braun, and Brad Bad News Bollinger. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Game On. Talking about your favorite sports and different parts of life. Might even get a little take on Lane Kiffin's wife. They tell you what they think, you're not afraid to take a stand.